Typically, you have holiday home and second home insurance. Now, these are naturally for second properties that you own. Holiday home, firstly, will be for properties that you use as a second property. However, you may commercially let it out through Airbnb or similar sites like that. When you let the property out, of course, you're going to need specific cover for that. The reason it differs from a standard home insurance policy is, typically speaking, a standard home insurance policy is for family only to live in. Um, the question typically is occupied by family only. Also, a main residence. So if this is a holiday home which you may use every few weeks, every few months, well, you'll need a specific tailored policy for that. Again, something that we do offer here. And that also gives flexibility around length of time that it's unoccupied. So what we do is we discuss with you the terms of the policy and any restrictions that you may need to be aware of, or anything that you may need to do. For example, checking of the property, switching the water off, for example, or keeping the heating on. But we will discuss that and advise you of those terms. They're expected, they're common with this type of insurance. But again, what most insurers won't do is talk you through them and what your expectations will be. Second home insurance is slightly different. The policy is almost identical. However, a second home just accommodates it for you, family and friends only. You don't commercially let the policy, but that doesn't mean that a standard home policy can still cover you, because it usually can't. But it also means that we can offer you a more tailored policy for that. So it's a property that you're not using all the time. It's used for family and friends, weekends, summer, and we can offer it to tailor that. The difference really between holiday homes and buy-to-let is the tenancy agreement, so to speak. So with a buy-to-let, it's a tenancy agreement in place, whether that's on a short-term let or a long-term let. A holiday home is, you are letting this property out on a very short-term basis with no tenancy agreement in place, so to speak. So, for example, you let it out for a weekend to a family, whereas a buy-to-let insurance is a tenancy agreement in place almost for the permanent letting of the property. It's not a property that you're then going to use yourself. Whereas holiday home, it could be one weekend you and your family go, next weekend you've let it out through Airbnb to somebody else, to a third party. There's no permanent agreement in place. Whereas with buy-to-let insurance, that agreement is that a family or an individual or students, for example, are living in that property permanently or for the duration of a tenancy agreement. We can cover majority of holiday homes. Now, where it becomes quite interesting, because we have the ability to offer non-standard insurance, these can then start tying into each other. For example, let's say you believe your holiday home is of non-standard construction. That still allows us to cover you under those elements. So, for example, we can cover holiday homes that are non-standard construction, that maybe have suffered from subsidence in the past, that potentially have had flooding issues. So this is where the advice and the broking service starts to expand. The ability to be able to look at the risk on an individual basis, as opposed to just targeting it as this is a holiday home or this is a non-standard insurance policy. We work closely with our insurers to be able to offer that tailored policy. We can cover overseas as well. That has restricted slightly over the years. But if you have a holiday home in the likes of Italy or Spain, we can also offer cover for those as second homes in other countries.